Hello to all the participants. I am Floriane Morin. Claire Brison, Olivier Schintz, and me are very happy to welcome you back this afternoon for the Conférence Globale Provenance last panel, returning from causes to consequences. A special welcome to all those who join us now. Don't hesitate to take a look at the previous webinars. They are available in video on Global Provenance website until the end of February. If human rights and museum responsibility gave the color to our conference with the keynote interview of Professor Christian Carpenter, the terms of repatriation, return, restitution were its keywords along with provenance research, whatever the announced perspectives of the previous webinars was. This morning, we discussed the very definition of this notion of restitution and what it implies in terms of relations and dialogue between those who should give back and those who should receive. But finally, between a certain decolonial utopia and the lack of understanding of what constitutes heritage for the source communities and the diasporas, how to interact with accuracy. With our four guests this afternoon, we will explore the circumstances of heritage restitution and its repercussions, with practical examples of governmental issues towards heritage spoliated during colonization, and with an international permanent research initiative dedicated to looted archaeological heritage in Yemen, if Alexander is joining us. It's our pleasure to introduce Marc-André Reynolds, who accepted to chair this panel between students' exams and the beginning of the conference he organized, What Prospects for Orphan Works? Reflection on Cultural Goods with No Provenance. This two-day online event begins on February the 5th. We will share with you the streaming link. Marc-André Reynolds, who studied in Geneva, Basel, and Yale, is an ordinary professor at the University of Geneva, responsible for teaching art and cultural property law. He was also associate professor from 2006-2019, lecturer at the University of Geneva from 2003 to 2006, visiting lecturer at the Graduate Institute of International Studies of Geneva and at the Duke Geneva Institute in Transnational Law in 2005. He was visiting professor at the University of Paris between 2006 and 2007. He also directs the Art Law Center and an institution dedicated to research and teaching of legal issues relating to works of art and cultural property. In addition, since 2012, he has held the UNESCO chair in international law for the protection of cultural property. Marc-André, the floor is now yours.
Thank you, Floriane. Thank you for this kind introduction. Congratulations on the team that you form and that you has enabled the setting up of this amazing conference. I've participated to a maximum that I could. I missed this morning, today's other panel, unfortunately, due to exams that I was, as you said, had students who were taking exams, but I'm happy to be here this afternoon with a great panel. So we will be speaking about restituer des causes aux conséquences, or returning from causes to consequences. And let me very, very briefly introduce this. I assume we are going to say the four speakers of, and not five, of today, in the order in which they will appear, first on film, then in real. Well, pseudo-real. Yasmina, Zian, who is actually very close to us geographically right now, because she's at the Swiss Forum for Migration and Population Studies at the University of Neuchâtel for this year of research. She is a doctor in history. She's a historian by training, that she did her doctorate between, if I understand well, the Technical University of Berlin and Université Libre de Bruxelles. And so you are going to obviously talk about the situation in Belgium with since you drafted a report, and I think you are somehow, if I can see from what you're writing, somehow frustrated on how things are happening in Belgium, but there's hope. So that's the first presentation. Then the second will be by Jos van Beurden from the Netherlands, who is a senior researcher at the Free University in Amsterdam. And for those of you who are connected, you certainly know that he's the author of the Facebook page Restitution Matters, also an email blog on those very specific issues. So he will tell us more on how things are going on in the Netherlands. Another, obviously, another state very much concerned with the colonial history, past and present. We were all hoping that Alexander Nagel would be here, but obviously he isn't. So I'm not going to introduce him. Maybe he will contact us in the meantime. But we will then have a dual presentation with Donna Yates and Pierre Lauzon on the very interesting concept of demuseumification and the return of cultural heritage. They have a lot of experience in many topics, but in particular with regards to South America. So Donna is associate professor in criminal law and criminology at Maastricht University, at the law school there, and is a co-author of a very important work on trafficking culture with top experts such as Simon Mackenzie and Neil Brody. And Pierre is a postdoctoral fellow presently at Columbia, and we appreciate very much your being with us this early for you. And we're also glad that you're not under too much snow right now, although if I understand what you just told me, there is a lot of snow in New York right now. So that's our panels. And just before leading to the brief films that you have all produced, which will now be aired, I would just like to raise one question so that maybe you can all start thinking, connected actually to the title of this panel, Restituer, des causes aux conséquences, returning from causes to consequences. And I'm very interested because terminology is never completely neutral, as translators and interpreters would say. It's interesting to see that the organizers have chosen two different terms. When in French, we talk about restitution, and in English about return. Now, the two terms are often used very indistinctively. I believe, as a lawyer, that they have very specific meanings, but I'll be very interested to know if you, of those of you who are historians, researchers, or lawyers, if for you this has any meaning. I don't mean to have the whole session on this vocabulary issue, but it could be a good start. But first, let's watch the films.